to the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have two very special guests, folks that I'm looking forward to working with. I've got to spend some time with both of them already. We're lucky to have them here in our community. You're going to get to know them a little better today. So first, we have Kim Jefferies, President and CEO for Campus of Hope. Welcome, Kim.
Great to be here.
And we also have Erik Hansen with a K, Chief Sustainability Officer at Wynn Resorts. Now, they are leading an effort, a very unique effort, to not only manage homelessness, but actually solve it. And this is a public-private partnership. Again, excited about this conversation. We want all of you to know about it. We're going to be involved. We already are, but we're going to put our shoulders into it as well because it takes a community to really address this. So I'm really excited. Before we get to the actual project, let's learn a little bit about you. When we start the podcast, we kind of let our guests tell their story, if you will, where they were born, where they were raised, grew up, went to elementary, middle, high school, perhaps even college, and their first job. So Kim, can you kind of give us that rundown?
Yeah, mine's pretty boring because I was born and raised and went to elementary, middle, high school, undergraduate degree, graduate degree, all in the same city. So that was San Antonio, Texas. And so born and raised there, never left. And so my first job, my first real job, other than working, kind of the part-time jobs, was working at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. I worked in operations first and ran kind of the front gate operations and then worked in human resources after that. And so I always say it was the best place to learn human resources because you had 16-year-olds supervising other 16-year-olds. Yeah. I'm going to let you go with your imagination of what we encountered there at Six Flags. But it was a great place to learn.
Wow. So that's where we stole you from, San Antonio. And again, we're very fortunate that you're here, as we'll learn later. We used to have the president of the College of Southern Nevada, Federico Zaragoza, came from San Antonio. And I remember 3-4 years ago when local elected officials from here went there and they came back raving about, Campus of Hope over there. And so here we are today. Fast forward, thanks to the private sector jumping in, which we'll find out. So Erik, your turn. Tell us where you were born, grew up, went to school.
Well, I'm from Sparks, Nevada, Northern Nevada. I'm a Northern Nevada guy originally. Been here for about 10 years. Grew up there, went to Reed High School. And then, my first job actually is very similar to Kim's. I actually had two. I worked for Wild Waters, which was a water park up there, as a lifeguard. And then I also worked at A&W, flipping burgers in the back. Wow. So those were that was my summertime. That's what I did. And they were great. And I then went on to, join the military. I was in the Army for 10 years, flying around on Chinook helicopters all over the world. And then went to work for NV Energy. And I've been with Wynn here for about 10 years now.
That's awesome. I think I mentioned this to you and I have to follow through. One of our board members, he's actually the vice chair of our board, Eric Schmacher, also was a Army helicopter pilot. So I need to connect the two of you.
Great.
Yeah, we'll come do lunch with you.
I was a flight engineer on the Chinook. So if he was a Black Hawk guy, there might be some interest.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if he's flew anything smaller than the Chinook. We're
going to find out.
There's a helicopter envy is a real thing.
I'm sure you guys have so many stories. I'm going to make that happen. So, Kim, if we go back to your career, how did you get into where you're at now? Was there a pivotal moment in your professional journey that got you into, this? Because now you're not just a subject matter expert, but you've ran a very successful project that now hopefully we're going to replicate here. How did you get into it?
I kind of fell into the nonprofit space, ended up in an organization that I was working with kids with disabilities for 21 years. And when I decided to leave that organization, we had done some really good succession planning and tapped somebody on the team to move into that role. I said I was never going to run another nonprofit because it's so much. When you believe in what you do and you're passionate, all of you goes into that. And so it does require a lot of you. And then I met and had an opportunity to have a conversation with the founder of the San Antonio campus, Mr. Bill Greehey. And in that conversation, he was very vulnerable about how he had put his life's kind of heart and effort into creating the campus in San Antonio and was worried that once he left and passed on, that it wasn't going to continue on. So wanted somebody who really knew the nonprofit space, was good at infrastructure development, could really make sure it was going to be sustainable after he left. And so I'm a faith-based person. I'm a pastor's granddaughter, so grew up in the church, and he and I connected on faith. And so I felt very called to do the work. And the moment I stepped on the campus in San Antonio, I knew I was in the field of what I was supposed to do and what everything in my life had been leading me up to do at that point.
What year was that when you stepped on that campus?
That was 2011.
Wow. It was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Erik, what about you? I mean, I also spent 20 years in the hospitality. When I went to visit you last time, it reminded me of a lot of the things that I loved and miss. Now, that day I didn't think about all the other stuff, the leaks and but that day was fun because, the properties are just amazing, right? They're beautiful. There's great venues, great restaurants, great people, everybody's smiling. So, but what got you into hospitality and specifically the job you have now? Because even though we said Chief Sustainability Officer, it's actually longer. It's Chief Sustainability
and Government Affairs as well. Yes.
So tell us about how you got to this role.
When I transitioned out of the military, that was in 2003. I went to work for NV Energy as a power trader. And through there, I was fortunate enough to have, actually in Northern Nevada.
Oh, okay.
But at the time we were both Sierra Pacific and Nevada Power. I was really fortunate that I had some great mentors as bosses that encouraged me to learn more about the business than just my role. So I did everything from rates, regulatory, transmission, air, all these different things. And when I left the company in 2013, I started my own consulting firm. And it was that my goal was the implementation of NRS 704B, which was, if you're familiar with that was when all the large customers, Wynn, MGM, Caesars, Switch Data Centers, had the opportunity to leave NV Energy and go out and buy their power on the open market because there were market opportunities. So through that, I got to know the folks at Wynn really well. Matt Maddox in particular. And through that process of having that business, ultimately I was asked to come in-house with Wynn. And through that, I initially started off as the director of energy procurement. So I was really just focused in on renewable energy, all of our portfolio around that. And then we had our opportunity to build the Boston project, which was my first real dive into the sustainability world. And that was sustainability. It was a 501 level class. It was PhD level. We had a lot of opportunities to do some great things there, which we did. And through that, it was just I was given, once again, similar to at NV Energy, I've had some great mentors that gave me opportunities just to grow and do new things and really experience it. And Wynn does experiences and at a level that is unparalleled. And as I moved out in 2018, we created the role that I'm in now, the Chief Sustainability role. And it grew again. The opportunities grew again. The ability to see different things, the ability to have access to different people, experiences grew again. And through that, I got to know our current CEO, Craig Billings, really well. And a few years ago, we, as an industry, really started looking at how we can improve our community. One of the biggest things was the amount of homelessness that was happening and the change in demographics, how that was growing, more families out on the street. Just really, it was a thing that as an industry, none of us wanted to see happen to Southern Nevada. We're all very passionate about Nevada, and its economic viability, but also just the personal side of things. These are people. So once again, given an opportunity to, hey, let's see if we can do something. Let's see if we can do something big, transformational. And that's ultimately what led me to meet Kim. Yeah.
This project is exciting because we're already hinting at it. What makes it different? That's the next question. But this public-private partnership, again, I think is what has got me excited about it. The fact that the two of you are at the helm. I know you're going to build a much larger team, but I believe for the first time, our community has the opportunity to actually address the issue at the core and really in a sustained and comprehensive way, because there's been attempts that are almost like just, it's not whole, if you will. And this approach is, obviously it's worked in San Antonio. So Kim, in your words, what makes the project different and gives it the best chance to actually address this problem?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you were talking about. It's not putting a Band-Aid on the issue. It's how do we get at the core issue that led to somebody's homelessness? And that's what it is. It's the underlying cause of that. And I think, the model in San Antonio, there are two things that proved critical in the model that we'll adopt here and take it to the next level, as Vegas does, is really building a sense of community. When people are experiencing homelessness, they are in survival mode when they're on the streets. And, their brain is literally working different. They're like, where am I going to eat? How am I going to stay safe? Where am I going to sleep tonight? What does this look like? And so they're not thinking about their life and their purpose and, who they can be in this world. They're just trying to get through the day. And so creating a community, a place where they can come and exhale and have that opportunity to feel safe and then to work on what's next for them is important. The second thing and the most important thing is the co-location of services. So you talked about it, that comprehensive model. So having anything and everything on the campus that somebody might need in order to rebuild their lives. So medical, dental, vision, behavioral health services, substance use treatment, workforce development is one of the key and most critical services that will be on campus, case management, childcare, fitness center, spiritual services, a chapel, a kennel, a cattery, anything, that somebody might need to rebuild their lives. And it's really about giving them, one, a place to belong, and then secondly, a place to rediscover their purpose in this world. And they get to do that on the campus here, and they'll get to do it on the campus here and at Campus for Hope.
And I know that there's some already misconceptions that people are starting to assume things, that it's just going to be like the corridor of hope that was downtown where anybody can go. But there's going to be a very, again, this is not a new model. So I know you guys were explaining it to me. You just don't get to show up. You get assessed. You have to have commitment because, again, this has to work. And so can you tell us a little bit programmatically how it will work, how people are identified and then eventually made habitants of the campus?
Yeah, it's, the legislation requires navigation centers. So all the participating municipalities are creating or have navigation centers. And so those will kind of be the funnel to campus. And so we're not a walk-up facility. We're not a traditional, shelter. This is not what we are. We're a place where people reside, but people who are ready and willing to do the work. To your point, everybody that comes on campus will have to pass a background check, be committed to sobriety. We'll have to commit to programming, person-centered. They get to decide what that looks like for them, but they have to be committed to that programming and be a resident of the state. And so those navigation centers and our trusted partners will triage the folks, assess them, make sure they're a good fit, and then we'll be able to enroll them on campus. It
sounds amazing. Erik, again, most people probably wonder, why is the private sector involved? Because even though you represent Wynn, in a way you represent more than just the Wynn property, you represent the industry who is saying we need to be, or we want to be, a part of the solution. And I know we all read it in the paper, $100 million from the public sector, $100 million from the private sector. That is amazing catalyst. But why did it happen? Why do you think the private sector jumped in?
Well, I mean, let me start. I think there's a perception of Las Vegas and the resort industry that we're transactional and we just want to, that we, there's a callousness to it. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This was from day one an industry initiative that everybody jumped behind. All of our partners up and down the strip, really, we saw it for what it was. There was kind of a trifecta of perfect storm happening. You had a new governor who understood the issue at a very core level. He got it. He was just previously dealing with it. Mm-hmm. You had legislative leadership who truly cared about it and had been working on, solutions for years. And then you had a business industry all across Southern Nevada, not just the resorts. A lot of our business partners came together and said, we think we can do something big. Let's really put our efforts together. Let's do something big, because these are great big buildings. They're beautiful resorts, but they are all filled with people who care. Thousands, tens of thousands of employees who care. Yep. From the CEO all the way down to the GRAs who are making the beds and cleaning the rooms at every one of the properties up and down the strip. So this issue not only affects the people that you see out on the street, it affects the industry's employees, right? There are families that are experiencing some sort of trauma and they're coming to work on the strip. right? So everybody understood the issues and they saw it growing as a bigger concern. And quite honestly, we did not want to be seen as some of the other cities that you were seeing on the news, right? The Portlands and the LAs of the world, and those issues that were just growing and growing and growing. So with that kind of trifecta of people that understood the issue and were willing to do something about it, that's what pushed this forward. That understanding and that collaboration of, I mean, let's face it, you had a Democratic controlled legislature, you had a Republican governor, and then you had the business industry coming in and really bringing everybody together and go, this is an issue that should not be partisan. This should be something we can all solve. And that's what drove us to the legislation that went through in the 2023 session and then where we are today.
That's awesome. I know that now having been spent some time with you, you use the word transactional. And the two of you are the opposite. You're relationship folks, and I think that's why it's important that this project be led by that. Folks who understand it takes relationships, it takes commitment. And so I know the model, Kim, as you were explaining in San Antonio, is successful because you convene organizations whose expertise help in the mission. Mm-hmm. And that way you're not have to be the expert in everything, but you do build a team that has all the expertise. And that takes, again, I know you're doing it because you're doing it with us. How has it been starting these relationships for the folks that will be on the campus, filling those roles of those expertise? Has it been easy or?
No, honestly, it has been. I've been surprised because I think in San Antonio, one of the mistakes that San Antonio made was, just opening the campus and saying, if you want to play in this space, you got to be on campus. And we're trying to come in and be overly inclusive here and, try to bring the best of what everybody has to offer. There's some incredible work happening in this community already. And I think the system's just fragmented, and it's hard for people to navigate it. And so, it's our hope and our responsibility to be in the center of the system and then create kind of these system connections that will help not just our clients, but the entire, individuals who are experiencing homelessness in this community. And so everybody's been super welcoming. Everybody's excited about the project. They're excited to see how they can fit. And I think that's the other thing is everybody plays a role. And Campus for Hope doesn't want to do clinical services. We want to bring the best people in the space to do clinical services. Same with food service and other things, childcare. We want the best in the space to come in and provide that because our clients are going to benefit and then they're going to stay stably housed because they're going to have really moved along the trajectory they needed to.
If I know we already made the commitment to be your partner, but if we can help in any other establishing of other relationships, let us know. I think Erik opens doors anyway, but if you do need us, let us know with partners that perhaps haven't been responsive yet.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned earlier, it was transformational for you when you stepped on that campus of hope. Erik, I imagine that when you went to visit, something happened too, because now you're such a strong advocate for the model. What was it? What was your experience like when you walked over there the first time?
Well, when we first started looking at this and the feasibility of doing it in Las Vegas, we looked at a lot of different places. We looked in Florida, we looked in Arizona, we looked in Utah, and there are great programs being done in all of those places. What really stood out about San Antonio was the holistic approach, right? It was really about the individual's journey to make it as easy as possible to succeed, right? Just as I'm here, and quite honestly, Kim, right? So Kim's explaining this to us, her team's explaining to us on how they're doing it, how they're making this work, and how they're having true results. And so when we dug into, okay, what are the results? They were incredible, right? The success rates coming out of San Antonio, Haven Grove down there were unlike anything else we'd seen around the country. So it very quickly dawned on us, and we had some experience with it. Well, Todd Fasulo, who's our head of corporate security and was previously at Metro, he had gone down to San Antonio and took some folks down there in 2016-17, and he had the vision. He saw that this model in San Antonio could come back to Vegas. So then we went down and revisited San Antonio. We took a bunch of folks with us, and it was just incredible, right? You walk through there, and it doesn't feel like a government facility. It feels like a community. It feels like a college campus-like place. So I took that experience, that first experience, and several other. That's how I got to know Kim really well.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in San Antonio, and really thought through what could this look like in Vegas? What could we take that was so great that they did in San Antonio, put make it very specific to the needs of Southern Nevada and add all the resources that Las Vegas has to build something up like this. And so that's where the initial vision for what they had done in San Antonio, just it lit the spark. It lit the spark for what we could do here. And when we took folks down there, they all got it too. They understood it. It doesn't take more than 5-10 minutes on the campus to realize this is different. And so we brought that here.
Can't wait to see it. I know that it becomes more real because now when you drive by the site, the fences are up, the signs are up. So it's starting to become, I'm sure for you guys, that's satisfying too, to go from just designs on a napkin to eventually seeing stuff, excavated and poured and that things. Will there be eventually, I'm sure, hard hat tours that start to happen as progress? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, we're actually going to open a community experience center.
Ooh.
So in one of the construction trailers, we're taking one of them so that individuals from the community and neighbors, people who are interested in potentially volunteering or supporting our efforts or partnering with us can come look at plans. We can answer questions that they might have, do hard hat tours as it gets up and running. Because you said it earlier, it takes a village. It's going to take not only a lot of partners, but a lot of volunteers and, support from the community to, our kids are going to need backpacks when they go to school and our, Halloween costumes and different things like that. We're going to need to have drives for socks and things like that we're going to need on campus. And so we're going to need the entire community supporting us. So we want to start that before we even get open by inviting them in to see the vision and to see it come to life.
How exciting. Is there a calendar, if you will, and maybe not hard dates, but are we looking at 6, 12, 18 months before ribbon cutting? What is it?
Yeah, probably a little longer.
Okay, 24?
We hope to start right now. We're doing site investigation work and start demo hopefully later this year. Okay. And then vertical construction probably won't start until spring, summer of next year. And then we hope to open in the early 2028. So it'll be a little bit, but time flies.
Oh, it does.
It goes fast.
In I think 30 or 45 days, we will be moving from this location to the new Civic Center across City Hall in Las Vegas, downtown Las Vegas. And they built thank you. And we were just looking at the conversation started in 23. And so, but here we are, to your point.
Yep.
So very good. The next thing I do want to, before jumping to out of work, if somebody wanted to learn more about Campus of Hope, is it just the website, the best place to go? And then there's contact information there?
Yeah, the website's the best place, just nevadahope.org. And so they can go there. There's contact information. There's a way to, there's an info email, info@nevadahope.org, and then they can email and we can give them more information. We do newsletters. They can sign up for that and stay on top of what's happening.
Yeah. And again, explore the partnerships and those possibilities. So we're going to put that here on the screen too, so the viewers can go back. And if somebody's interested, they know how to find you. We've talked a lot about your work lives, which again, you both are, you work long hours, you have big jobs because you work on things that have real impact on people. But when you do have time off, and we'll start with you, Kim, what do you enjoy? What recharges you? What brings you happiness, when it's your time?
Yeah, when it's my time, I have 2 grown daughters, so spending time with family is important to me, obviously. And we love to travel, so any kind of travel.
Nice.
We love travel. We're kind of beach people, so we spend a lot of time at the beach or the lake. We're water people, outdoors folks. I love to read as well. In San Antonio, I haven't gotten back to it here, but in San Antonio, I had a really big garden and I had chickens. And so, yes, I'm hopeful to recreate some of that on the campus.
Yes,
so I can
exactly.
do that on campus.
Great idea.
But spending time outdoors and traveling and spending time with family is really, what recharges me.
Have you explored Lake Mead yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
So
it's a big body of water. And so I think if you guys are water people, aquatic sports, jet skis, that kind of stuff,
I'm waiting for Erik to invite me on their friend's boat or their family's boat.
Yeah. All right.
I haven't got that invitation. Maybe this will make that happen.
I think you'll like it. Yeah.
You're always invited.
There you go. Erik, how about you? When you're, again, not traveling to Macau and all these places where Wynn has properties, how do you recharge and where do you find happiness in your time off?
Like Kim, it's family. I have 3 kids and my wife, and we're in the throes of volleyball and dance and all the activities that keep us going, 6-7 days a week. But we also love to travel. We love to get away, get out and experience as much as we can. And personally, I love golf. I wish I could play more. This project and my current roles have kept me off the course a little bit, so my handicap isn't that great these days. But one of these days I'm going to get back out there and start swinging the club again. It's family. That's what recharges us.
The golf course over there on site, it's still 18 holes and.
It is, yeah. It's a beautiful course. Yeah, we actually added a few holes in 2019, I believe it was, when we did the expansion of the convention center there. It's one of the most beautiful courses. Yeah. I mean, if you get a chance to go play, you should come over. It's beautiful. I almost had I had mixed feelings when those drawings came up when the golf course was going to turn into the Lake of Dreams. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I'm sure golfers are happy it's still there. Yeah. Our golf program over there and our golf team is incredible. And that course is immaculate. And the tee sheets are full. People love coming into town. And it's a great experience because you're down on the strip, but when you're out on the course, you don't feel like you're on the Las Vegas Strip. That's awesome. You feel like you've been transformed or transmitted to another beautiful course on the East Coast or something like that. That's awesome. We've already talked a little bit about how people who are interested can connect with the project, the website, and once they get to meet you, they'll get all the information. I'd like to maybe ask you, because I know you're very passionate about this, and I'll start with you, Kim. You've, as you said, your life maybe was all in San Antonio, but that's equipped you now to come and help this community who really needed you, to make a big impact here. If there was somebody on listening or watching this who was 18 and said, man, that lady Kim really rocks. I kind of want to grow up and be like her. What advice would you give that young person that they could also, have a career like yours where you're actually impacting people and you're lured out of your community where you spent your whole life to come here to help us solve a problem as well? Yeah. I think it's hard as a young person, and I'm a late bloomer, so I didn't get my undergraduate degree till I was 31. Wow. So I dropped out of college and went back and then got my graduate degree at 40. So I always tell people just, find the place where your skill sets, and your heart match. And so if something makes you cry, then you probably have a passion for it. And so start volunteering, if you're going to school and going to college or you're going into a trade or whatever you're doing, volunteer somewhere, find that place. And so you'll find, if you can find where your skill set and your passion matches, that's where the magic happens. And so it's sometimes hard to do. And sometimes it takes some of us longer than others, myself included, but that's where I've really found, I have a skill set, and it's not necessarily, although I love directly working with clients, that's not always my skill set. My skill set is, infrastructure and building things and building collaborations and systems and relationships that can help the individuals. And so taking that and pairing it with the skill of, or the passion of, everybody has gifts to offer. And so how do we make sure everybody has an opportunity to share those gifts with the world? Because when we don't, we miss out as a society. And so, the people who are living under the tunnels and the people who are, on the streets and experiencing homelessness, they have gifts to offer this world. And so I see it as my job to give them the space and the environment to share, to rediscover those gifts, and then to be able to share them with the rest of the world. That's wonderful. Great advice. Erik, what about you? How does a young man who spent 10 years in the military then, get it going and get himself a hospitality career like the one you have, making huge impact, Chief Sustainability Officer, Government Affairs, and finding the time to also partner with the public sector to really change our community? What would you tell an 18-year-old boy who says, I want to be like that guy? I had a great mentor and friend early in life that told me that the fruit is out on the skinny branches, right? And the skinny branches break, they shake, they're scary to go out on. So my advice, and I've lived by this, is to say yes. So opportunities come up, even if it's something you may not think that you're good at, think you can do, may not feel like the right fit. It's an opportunity. And if you say yes, even if you get the opportunity to grow from failing at it, right? I have rarely learned as much from succeeding as I have from failing, right? So say yes. And that's move forward with that. Have the attitude to say yes, be teachable. And it's, you build relationships that way. Every time you say yes, you've just built a relationship with somebody.
I love it.
Yeah.
Take some chances.
Take some chances.
That's so good. I could speak with you guys for a long time. We're going to have to do this again. As we were talking earlier, we're going to be moving. So maybe when we start our new season in the new location, you can be some of our first few guests and we can do a little update on the project, kind of what partnerships have been built since then. Is that a fair ask of you guys?
Absolutely. We'd love to come talk about that. Awesome. We could lift up all the partners in this community that are already doing amazing work.
We can focus on that. Very good. I love that. All right. Well, then we'll make it happen. Thank you for being here, Kim and Erik, today here with us on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been great.
All right. Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at a future one. Until then, stay safe. Well, Kim and Erik, thank you for staying to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
Ready.
We're ready.
All right. This is a rapid fire session. So the key is to keep it rapid. And we're going to start with the easy one. It's called Your Favorites. Kim, we'll start with you. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Erik?
Sushi.
Kim, favorite beverage with dinner?
Ooh, champagne.
Erik?
I'm going to go Sancerre.
Kim, favorite dessert after dinner?
Creme brulee.
Erik?
Creme brulee.
Wow, that's what you guys are great friends. And I love that sushi place you took us to. All right, Kim, favorite car you've ever owned?
Lexus RX.
Erik?
BMW X6M.
Ooh, nice ones. Kim, favorite book or movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Erik?
I'm going to go with one I'm reading right now, Extreme Ownership by Jocko.
Wow. Yeah, Shawshank is top 5 for me, movie-wise. Kim, favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Erik?
Christmas.
All right. This is tricky, Kim, because you're going to have to. Favorite professional sports team?
Dallas Cowboys. Boo. I know.
All right. Erik, favorite professional sports team?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. Now, this is where you get to, make up. Kim, your favorite Vegas professional sports team?
Ooh, I'm going to go with the Aces.
All right. Erik?
Golden Knights. Go Knights, go.
Go Knights, go. Very good. You made it through the first segment. Call your favorites. Yay. So now we have some props for you. If you can grab those little paddles in front of you, as you can tell, they say true or false. And you're going to be judged to feel of your knowledge of the Campus of Hope. So you should do fine on this one, right? Let's see. Again, make sure you know where you are. Whatever the answer is, you want to show it to the camera. So let's do a little practice. Show me true. Very good. You guys are on it. All right. First question. The Campus of Hope will be located on Jones and Charleston. Yeah, you guys are on it. The Campus of Hope helps participants transition out of homelessness. The Campus of Hope will provide only 30 beds. That's right. How many beds, Kim?
900.
Wow. The Campus of Hope serves both families and individuals. That's true. The Campus of Hope offers mental and behavioral health care. True. The Campus of Hope is fully state funded. We talked about that. No, that's right, because this is a public-private partnership. 200 million, 100 million each, right?
200 million, yeah.
Yep. The Campus of Hope residents must be enrolled in programming and meet background criteria. Kim talked about that, yeah. The Campus for Hope CEO, we have it right here in front. She comes from a similar organization in New York. That's not right. San Antonio, all her life. Very good. Well, you guys made it through true or false. Perfect score. Good job, you guys. The last segment is called Finish the Sentence. So we'll start with you, Kim. If Kim could visit any place in the world, it would be?
Croatia.
If Erik could visit any place in the world, it would be?
The Amalfi Coast.
Kim, the best part of living in Southern Nevada is?
The heart in the community.
Erik, the best part of living in Southern Nevada is?
All of the activities and sports.
Kim's favorite thing about her job as president and CEO at Campus of Hope is?
The ability to help people.
Erik's favorite aspect of his job as Chief Sustainability Officer at Wynn Resorts is?
To impact true change.
You guys are so good. If Kim could travel back in time, she would travel to?
Ooh, the times of Jesus.
Wow. Have you watching The Chosen?
I have not.
Oh, I'm going to have to give you that link.
Okay.
If Erik could travel back in time, he would travel to
World War II Europe.
Ooh, because you know how to fight. You're an army guy. 3 words. Here we go, Kim. You're going to give them to me. 3 words that describe Kim are
Authentic, passionate, spiritual.
Couldn't agree more. Erik, 3 words that describe you are.
I'm going to go passionate, authentic, and driven.
You guys are like best friends, huh? Oh, man. More. Very good. Kim, doing the WC podcast here with us today was?
Incredible.
Erik, doing the podcast with us today was?
Phenomenal.
Awesome.